Welcome back to 03 YouTube channel. Okay, in today's video we are rebuilding a it's a Fukner FU-400, also known as an Alinco EMR-400. So it's just this small rotator version. I've done quite a few upgrades to this. All the casings have been stripped and then glass bead blasted and painted in this nice hammer tone paint that I've got here. So both casings have been done. The the bearing ring's been done. I've got to polish the inside here yet. It's flaring out. And you can see the top housing started flaring out. The inside was glass bead blasted as well because it's a bit manky. And I've recoated in a clear if I stop it from flaring out. I've also installed M6 recoils into each of the four mounting points for the mask lamp, so it's in pretty good condition, this one. Put that back down there, back up on there. The lower housing inside was done again, glass bead blasted and coated in a clear to reseal it. And I've also installed M6 recoils. You probably can't see them. You see it's nice and shiny in there. Stainless steel recoils. So, and as I said, this has been painted. I've got to polish the tracks up yet because this is where the tape was that covers up the paint getting on it. So it's all happening slowly. Now in this this next two builds, this one and the next one, I'm running 100 volt motors instead of the original ones. The motor in this one, if I remember correctly, was burnt out, and I had plenty of the 100 volts, and plus I wanted to put the motor start capacitor on board, and being the fact that the 100 volt has a smaller capacitor and it's a pillow shape as opposed to, or a square shape, as opposed to a round one with the 24 volts, and the 24 volt ones are a bit on the big side. But I also wanted to put the limit switches in it, which I've done on this here. As you can see, I'll put that around. Limit switches are now installed. And this casing, as you can see, there's a bit of roughness on here. This had a bit of rust on it. I stripped it all down and I sent it off, and it got re-zinc plated, and then I reassembled it, put the gear back on again, put the shafts, the swing bar back in again, and so there we are. It might look a bit rough, but it's all been sort of flaring out. It has been zinc plated, and I actually had it glass bead blasted first to make sure I got rid of all the rust and everything. So yeah, so as you can see, we have a ring gear that's in very good condition in this one. So at the same time, I had the as you see, it's a bit roughness here. I had the mounting point for the potentiometer, which I forgot to bring over. So the potentiometer and all the gears, this goes on there. This goes on the potentiometer, which drives there. So basically I haven't got the potentiometer sitting here at the present moment. So that's done. I've also done a little mod to the original casing. They normally have a bit of moulded stuff which cracks, and it's got little clamp bits on it. I actually bored it out and put in a flexible boot. So it's tapered, so we can use a small one or take it back to there, and we can actually go for the next size up. So that will self-seal to a certain degree. And the terminal block, not that I like them, I put brand new stainless steel screws in these, so that's in good order. The gasket's in good order, as well as the main bottom O-ring for the sealing. And the gears in these ones, this whole rotator was rusty inside, and I've exchanged the gears for another set of gears. If I remember correctly, I've got the other gears zinc plated, re-zinc plated, but these are the gears I'm putting in this one. Then the first one, so these are all in good order, and we should have two spacers. So There we go, and then we have the brake drum pinion for the number 1 gear. So everything is looking good, so I'm going to be moving forward, installing everything and getting it all up and running over the course of this short video, and then I'll get stuck onto the number 2 version, which will be just an identical version of this, a different colour. This one is a hammer tone silver and the other one is a clear silver, so I can distinguish the two. So yeah, it was just I'm trying to do 2 of these at once. If you looked at the previous video, I built the 2 controllers up to suit these, being the 100 volts, and so basically these 2 rotators, this one and the next one, will be for those 2 controllers. Okie dokie, we shall move on. I shall catch you in part 2. Okay, we're back. I have now assembled the motor and top plate and the new 6 microfarad capacitor for the motor, 100 watt motor. It has been glued to the base and only cable tied to here so the motor can be removed. I've wired in the 2 limit switches. Had to make sure everything fits in with all the rest of the gearing and stuff around here. I actually just ground a little bit of the corner of that off, just a bit too close. So I've got the wiring on here ready to come out to the output terminal. So there we go. So as you can see, the motor lifts up the brake. It's all working. I've done a test on this, so there we are. We're up to date with that one. So that's the motor. I've also wired and refurbished the potentiometer, and I'm totally rewiring everything in this with all new colours because they had all the same colours on everything. It was like ridiculous. So yeah, refurbished part, and this has been re-zinc plated. So there we go. So we are moving on. See you in the next episode. Rightio, we're back again. Top motor and gearbox has been installed. The output terminal block has been wired up. I've just got to screw that onto there, and basically we can move forward. So everything is limit switches are working. You can hear the limit switches. Not a problem, no. So there we are. Motor start capacitor, you can see sitting there out of the road. There we go. Moving forward. Catch you next episode. Okay, here we are. We're back again. This is the Fukner FU-400. I've now put the bearings in. I've actually greased the bottom track as well. Makes it easy when you haven't got this top one in to do this. I've installed the bearings. That's all ready to go. I've done a little bit of labelling on the terminal cover. Another thing I've also done is I have glued stainless steel washers onto each side of this. This is the nut side, mainly because the spacing for these 2 locators for the head of the bolt is designed for 11mm headed bolts, and you know it's 5/16. I think it's 5/16. So I have bent one of these at right angles to then make this fit into there. So I'll undo I'll drop it through the hole. So when it goes in, it locates, gives it more surface area as well, and basically there we are. So, and it still hits the bottom. Now before, that's why this top one here is gone. When people have been doing these up without this spacer in here, it would actually turn and actually just snap these off, snap these guides or locators off. So, and I put these on here so we don't literally rip the living daylights out of the paintwork and everything else, and gives it a bit more purchase for the spring washer to lock in on. And I've done that to both of these. So there's the other one. It's happened as well. So they're all done, and basically we're ready to go. I'm going to drop the top housing on. I'll turn it around. My purple mark, and my purple mark is here. This is where the actual knock block is inside. So basically I'm just going to drop that on there, and then I shall go away and I shall get the bottom bearings in. There we go, top housing's on. I'll get the bearings in and we shall be back. Okay, we're back and done. As you can see, all together, labelled, covers on, markings are on for alignment. I'll have to do the final alignment with this one yet, but it's pretty close. So I've and I'll be showing you that video. It will be a separate video. I might do both these rotators and controllers on the same video. I'd do everything being aligned. We shall see how we go in that department. I think I mentioned this before. I've actually put the washers onto these mainly to give support on the little locator bars. So basically it's a washer bent at right angles, glued in place for there to take up the slack between there, because the bolts are meant to be, well, these are moulded for a 5/16 11mm head, and M6 bolts are 10mm. So, and that's why we get breakages. They turn too much and just snap things off. So they're all good. We're done, and we shall see you when I get to do all the alignment and testing. Catch-ya. Okay, we're back. I decided to attach this to the end of the previous video. So I now have the controller here. If you didn't see the other video, I'm just going to show you a quick run around of the of this controller. I put a cinch plug and a cover plate in the back. I've put an IEC socket and fuse holder in the back as well. And there's a few other minor mods and bits and pieces. I made up a brand new stainless steel direction switch, replaced the original switch, and different transformers. Definitely go back and look at the previous video on everything that I've done to this particular unit. So save going back into it. So we're going to plug him in. We're going to take it from pin 1 to pin 1 would be a good idea. Plug the ISC socket in. Much better way of going. And we'll take this Fukner 400 for a quick run, and then we'll get on to the other one of the other rotator that I did. Okay, there we are at north. I'll do a bit of alignment, but not a problem. There we go. Looks like the lens is flaring out a bit, so you can't really see that. Maybe I need to put the other light on as well. That made it a little bit better. Not much, but whatever. So there we go. And with the limit switches in here, in the rotator will stop automatically when it gets to just over south by about 5 degrees. So even though I'm holding the direction switch on, that way you don't burn the motors out. So if everything's out of line or whatever, at least it stops and doesn't do any damage to transformers and power supplies and motors and stuff. So limit switches are a good thing, especially if something is not aligned properly, or something goes out or whatever, out of whack or whatever. So basically limit switches, that's why I put limit switches in. It saves motors and transformers and a whole lot of grief, and it's just a matter of having limit switches in rotators. A must with something that has potentiometers, because it's just the way it should be. There you go. So we're past north, northeast, and again this side has the limit switches in. We'll stop in there at, well, we're stopping at east. There's east, stopping at east. You'll actually hear the motor. These are off-axis motors. If you have a listen to the motor, I'll get really close to it. Actually hear the motor jumping up and down. That's just dropping back onto the brake. Hear it going, and then boom, back onto the brake again. That's how these off-axis motors work. They pull up 2 axis off the brake, and when you actually hit the direction switch, and then when you release the direction switch, it falls back down onto, in other words, out of axis, back onto the actual onto the brake pad. There we go, 5 degrees over. You heard the brake go again. And back the other way again. We'll take it back to north, and this one will be done. And then I'll attach the other one's operation to back to the other video. So okay, this will be back to north again. So that'll be 1.5 revolutions, showing it all working. And go back and look at the this controller's video. Well, I did both controllers on the one video to show them being done. Okay, there's north. Rightio, we shall call it quits there, and we'll move on to the other video. Catch ya.